Hello to all my subscribers and random onlookers that have surfed the digital wave arriving at the shores of my median. I'm sorry for the long wait for a new video. I've recently been captivated by the game Diablo 4, but at last I've dropped the controller and have returned. The pulling I feel in my being to give my perspective I feel is imperative to the raising of the collective consciousness. I am but one drop of water in this vast ocean of existence. I am here. In this video, I'll be laying out irrefutable evidence of an advanced civilization that existed on our planet possibly over 50,000 years ago. With the forgotten enigmatic granite, dorite, basalt, and corundum blocks that have been cut to an astounding precision, it boggles my mind that people accept the mainstream idea of history. I understand, this is partially due to people not knowing. Well, my friends, that is exactly why I'm making these videos. I strongly believe we need to get the truth out to the population and wake people up from this slumber. The majority of sacred sites are located on ley lines. These are energy pathways spread out in a grid where the energies of Earth can flow strongly. Just like we have our energy centers or chakras, Mother Earth has hers. When you start looking into the nature of this universe and the Earth, you will start to see how everything is a mirror. Within us is a universe. Around us is a universe, and we are all connected. And what is in the middle of this grid, along with being in the center of Earth? The Great Pyramid of Giza. Mathematics, astrological precision, and even tool marks, all attributes of an advanced culture present at these anomalous sites. It is my hopes that after watching this video, you'll be a little more aware. There are many megalithic sites scattered all across the world built with granite and other hard stones weighing over 1,000 tons. The first question when seeing these for the first time should be, who built these? The mainstream explanation for this is the early civilizations of the world built them some 5,000 years ago. It's important to note, although we cannot date stone, this date has been given due to the association with the local culture, many referring to them as places of the gods. When observing the stonework, we can clearly see two different building techniques, one being megalithic, precise, and astrologically aligned, and the other, well, not so much. Not even close. The 5,000-year date was flipped on its head with the unearthing of Gobekli Tepe, discovered in 1963 and excavated in 1995. This incredible structure is a stain on the tapestry of the conventional timeline, a structure that was intentionally buried some 10,000 years ago, as dated by the organic material, has sprung from the depths of our Great Mother to tell a story of our past. It's almost comical how the definition of hunter-gatherer was changed after finding this site. Normally, a megalithic structure is a clear indication of civilization. You need skills, food, knowledge, and manpower just to conceive of making something megalithic. And what did the gatekeepers do? They changed the definition of what it means to be a hunter-gatherer to support their narrative. Absolutely appalling. Along with being massive, it's a perfect representation of the night sky. Each carving is a mirror image of a constellation. Why were they mapping the skies? What were they trying to tell us? Could it be possible that this culture was aware of a cataclysm approaching and intentionally buried the site to protect it, to benefit later generations with their knowledge? I'll go further into this idea in an upcoming video. Keep in mind, these megalithic sites all have esoteric folklore surrounding them. If we were to take the mainstream idea, being built by their surrounding cultures, how can megalithic work be associated with the previous residents and not be replicated as time went on? Technology and knowledge move in a linear trajectory up. When studying these sites, you'll see their skills started high and diminished severely to present day, not being replicated, and in many cases scavenged for material on newly built infrastructure. We can comfortably push the date back far exceeding mainstream dogma. Comparing building techniques, you'll see all these sites were built using the same megalithic techniques. Understand, this is a civilization reaching every corner of the world, erecting huge stone buildings, most having properties of somatic residence, and all bring the sky to the ground, as above, so below. Diving into the building techniques, we'll see the usage of extremely hard and difficult stone ranging from granite to corundum, rated on the Mohs scale 7 to 9. Meaning, they would need diamond-tipped tools to effectively work the stones. The mainstream explanation is the usage of pounding stones. At the rate of pounding, it would take over a year for a single stone, and there are millions of stones built with precision to a very high caliber, scattered all around the world from Egypt to Peru. Pounding stones. Let's poke holes in this idea. Using a pounding stone may be a means to accomplish removing some material, but the precision and detail on these structures, many of which have varying angles, some lining up to a perfect 90 degrees, with a relative flatness smaller than a human hair. Such precision cannot be achieved with pounding stones, or by hand for that matter. Trying to explain just how perfect these things are is a difficult thing to do. Flinders Petrie, being a renowned archaeologist, wrote extensively and in awe about the perfection he was witnessing firsthand. A good representation would be the relation to the flat planes on a structure. Example, this stone jar. The flatness of the bottom compared to the flatness of the top has a tolerance less than a human hair. This level of precision can be observed on all of the megalithic stonework. This is just mind-blowing and is inconceivable to be done thousands of times. This is clearly the work of a machine and possibly even some sort of computer. Remember, we are talking about a culture that existed for 50,000 years before 10,000 years ago. Our civilization being a young 6,000 years, it really makes you wonder, what did they know? How did they live? Why are these structures so massive and made out of energetic stone that are located on ley lines and built as an astrological mirror? It's mind-blowing. I think an idea of technology they may have had can be extrapolated from the discovery of the Antikythera mechanism, lost on a shipwreck 2,000 years ago. To me, this is an out-of-place piece of technology. Mainstream archaeologists will tell you Archimedes, Poseidonus, and Hippocrates made it with their combined knowledge. As interesting and ahead of their time they were, once you look at the caliber it was built with, it becomes clear this is orders of magnitude greater than anything built back then. While you can't see the full scope of the inner workings, recently it was found that it mirrored Venus and Saturn. I suspect it was able to predict Pluto, Neptune, and Uranus's movements. Planets far beyond their visual scope. This is a planetarium. Surely, the creator made multiple iterations or something equally as complex. Nope, just one, and I don't buy it. Along with precise craftsmanship, there is blatant evidence of machining tool marks, from circular saw striations to drill holes, and even objects that look to have been lathed. All techniques thousands of years more advanced than what is typically known for the time period. More interestingly, how do you explain the scoop marks in granite blocks? Scoops that have been polished. The way this hard stone was worked looks as if they took a hot spoon to a bucket of ice cream. We can't replicate this method today. It would seem they wanted a stone that's integrity was not compromised by a crack, so they scooped it out, polished it, and continued building. This scooping method is present in their quarrying as well. It looks completely different than a mainstream explanation, pounding stones, or the use of flint. I'll expand on this in a future video as well. It's very interesting. I'd like to bring something to your attention for perspective. The consensus of information surrounding these sites are often developed by archaeologists and Egyptologists. It is from their perspective these precise structures were made by the tools associated with the time period, pounding stones, flint, and copper. It is only until you bring engineers and geologists that you get a real understanding of just how advanced it is. A similar example would be if in the future you find a plane. Archaeologists may say with authority, this is something that would have been pulled by a rope, completely ignoring the aerodynamics it was built for. This is what's going on now. Artifacts and structures with extremely advanced precision, sacred geometry, and structural design, put behind a veil of closed-minded dogmas. We must think for ourselves. Do not accept an idea until you look into it yourself. It's no surprise that the ancient civilizations would incorporate sacred geometry in the building of statues and artifacts, some examples being bases that have been scanned with a structured light machine, along with granite statues with perfect symmetry. In all of these, the precision is undeniable. Crafted to a relative flatness smaller than a human hair, almost all of these objects can be created using a mathematical equation that a Turing machine could calculate and make. How is this possible? How is advanced mathematics being produced? It wasn't until 100 years ago that we as a civilization could even comprehend just how precise these objects are. Our measuring equipment was inadequate until the laser was invented. And here, we are still accepting the mainstream notion that this is the work of a primitive, early civilization. The exterior angle of the Great Pyramid can be formed with the Vesica Pisces. Also, the dimensions of the Great Pyramid form an accurate representation of the northern hemisphere of Earth. This is not by accident, but by design. It's so obvious that what we are looking at is a lost culture spanning back tens of thousands of years, which brings me to another key piece of evidence for this theory, the facts. Astrological alignments. One of the most famous examples of this is the Great Sphinx. We can rewind the stars to a time when this magnificent structure points to its respective constellation, Leo. Now this is 30,000 years in the past, as stated in the Emerald Tablets of Thoth. That does not bode well with the mainstream idea, but it does fit perfectly along with the physical evidence of thousands of years of water erosion on the side of the Sphinx enclosure. Again, the facts. I go into detail on this topic in a previous video. If you haven't seen it, I'd be happy to link it below. Also, we can look at the features on Gobekli Tepe that mirror the stars from a sky 10,000 years ago. A civilization with this capability would take thousands of years to conceive of this, and in no way is the work of born hunter-gatherers. Near Gobekli Tepe, an even older site was found, going back 12,000 years ago, Karhan Tepe. In 2020, pillar-like structures with animal features, most likely a celestial depiction, was found. This area is massive and further supports the theory of a vast civilization thriving in the pre-Younger Dryas epoch. Also, is it not possible that in between the time of Gobekli Tepe 10,000 years and Karhan Tepe 2,000 years, humans could have formed a civilization? The site has just been found, so maybe we will experience a paradigm shift, one that mainstream dogma accepts the theory of a long-lost ancient civilization. Well, there are many more pieces of evidence I could present to support this theory, but I'll end it here. I'll make a follow-up video in the future. This subject is one that fascinates me and fills my heart with wonder. It's no longer a mystery as to if we did exist sometime in the past in my eyes. Accepting this has broadened my awareness, and I hope it has done the same for you. Please, if you like this video, consider liking and subscribing. Comment if you want to say what's up, or if you have a suggestion for a future video. I'll leave you with a quote. Whenever Dharma declines and the purpose of life is forgotten, I manifest myself on earth. I am born in every age to protect the good, to destroy evil, and to reestablish Dharma. That's from the Bhagavad Gita. I've got a feeling this is transpiring now, in everyone. I feel a change coming in the consciousness of humanity. Those in control will let go of our metaphorical chains. It is your individual duty to promote the good in any way you can. Approach your problems with an open heart and mind, and be accepting to all. Some people may need more space, and that's okay. We are infinite beings. Allow the source of all existence to radiate out of your vessel and into the part of the garden that you can touch. And with that, much love. Peace out.